Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Friday Night Lights. We are live here at Royce City Bulldog Stadium, and we have a big night, a big game. I'm Chris Pena, Rockwall County Game Day. I've got Brandon Neighbors, Jason Tanksley, and I got James Branch on the end, and we're excited. We have a big night. It's Hall of Fame night, so there's some inductees that'll be announced probably starting around 6:30, and then it's also Pink Night, so breast cancer awareness. So they got a couple of different things going on, and people are starting to trickle in. Obviously, you can see some of the teams starting to warm up back there. Gentlemen, we got football, and it's a big one. How's it going?
Yeah, I think it's going good, man. I think this is going to be a great game tonight. I mean, we had talked last week about the Mesquite teams, and of the two Mesquite teams, just being honest, I truly believe that we come out and hit these dudes in their mouth. So I've watched both Mesquite teams play, but this Mesquite team is a much different team put together than the other Mesquite team, and I think what Royce City has just matches up badly for these guys. I truly hope I'm not wrong. That's just what it looks like on tape.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Brandon. I think we're going to come out here. We need to establish from the start who we are, and I think we can wear them down. I know they've got some injuries, quarterback injuries. That's a little bit questionable. But you know what? I think we come out here. It's been a good week of practice. I was out here watching. I don't think you're going to see anything real tricky and different from the Bulldogs. I think you're going to see them come out here and try to perfect their craft and minimize penalties. And I think if they can do that, it should be a good night for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jason, you excited about tonight, and especially, to get back. I'm not going to say, because James corrected me correctly Wednesday night show when he said get back on track, because he didn't feel like the Bulldogs got off track during that Rockwall game.
No, and that's the thing, is I think that if Royce City really takes a step back and look at it, is that would we love to win that game? 100%. We would have loved to have won that game. But at the same time, is that you go out there with a heavyweight in your district, and you stand with them for 2 rounds toe to toe, and you're sitting there and you're trading punches. A team of that nature, if we don't put it all together for all 4 quarters, then a team like that, they did exactly what they're supposed to do. And so coming into that, feed off of the positives.
Right.
You had success on the run game. You were able to complete some long passes downfield to Jonah. To me, the standout, I'm telling you right now, is that the defense and how well they held, especially in that first half. I mean, there was 2 possessions that they were on the verge of scoring, and defense held them to 3 points.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that's confidence builders for your defense, not only in that game, but all the games going forward.
The Bulldogs come in 3-3 overall. They're 1-1 in district. Mesquite, the Skeeters come in 3-4, 1-2 in district. They drop a game to Mesquite Horn, who's really been a standout and a surprise in this district based off what they did last year. They bring in a new head coach from North Crowley. They've got a bunch of returning starters. They stayed pretty healthy. Now with some coaching, I'm not going to say better coaching, because I don't want to put down any coach that left, but I'm going to say that these kids at Mesquite Horn they've received the message a little bit better, and so they're playing really good. Mesquite, they'll look to bounce back off a loss. It's an 8-point loss. They had 5 turnovers in that game. So, I mean, again, we kind of talked about it. We were all talking about it before we went on air. And you excuse me, it's a little windy, I know, out here. But, that game, that Mesquite Horn, is kind of like Rockwall Heath. It's a rivalry game. They know each other. You can throw all the stats and special players out the windows in games like that. It's going to be a tight game, and it was. So, Mesquite comes in tonight. Their Coach Harris, this is, I believe, his second year coaching this team, and it might be his first year. I need to be corrected, maybe. But I talked to him before the game. I went over and had a chat with him, and he's really excited about how his defense has been coming on the last 5 weeks. Obviously, this is the time that you want your team to start finding themselves, to start hitting that stretch, because this is I don't want to. There's lots of games. There's not lots of games, but we're getting close to the end. But this is a game that both of these teams need to win if they're talking about making a push for the playoffs, because it gets really hard the rest of the way.
Yeah, I agree. And I was about to say that too. Is you're halfway through district now. You don't want to come in and drop a third game, and then have to fight an uphill battle the next 3 games. Especially with the caliber of teams that we have in our district. And so, for teams like us, we circle certain games where we think we got the good matchup and can do that. Listen, I don't know if Mesquite has this game circled or not. We'll find out, but I think their defense is going to have to play good. We're healthy. We got teams on the field. We got all our guys on the field. And, you might even see one or two faces tonight that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, I mean, I know they've moved up a few people from JV. I saw the roster updates, so there's a few kids that are out. And generally, they will move them up from time to time just to get the experience. But I think they've moved up a few to get some work,
Right.
not sideline experience like true work. But if you look at this Mesquite team that we're going to be playing tonight, athletically at all their positions of running and catching on offense, nobody's really overwhelmingly big, large, physical, right? But all of them are really athletic. Number 11 is going to be their go-to guy, or at least that's what it looks like on film. But when he catches the ball, you just got to rally to the ball. You got to have more than one guy get there. He's going to be a guy that if he makes one man miss, he has a shot. So you got to really rally to the ball. The other thing you got to do defensively is have what we call boot cut reverse guys. You got to have guys on the backside of the play that are willing to squeeze that field down. So if the ball's coming to the right, they're going to squeeze the field down from the right-hand side to where if he does try to cut back, there's not really a cutback lane, because I do see a lot of scores that have happened with them really on kind of what I'd call a Tecmo Bowl score.
Yeah.
They catch the ball on one side of the field and run to the other side and score. So if we're really good at backside contain and really good at rallying to the ball, I think we're going to shut this offense down.
Another thing, too, is that Caleb Robb's got to come up and he's got to have another game like he's been having the past two games, to where he has been the focal point of that defense. He's been the vocal leader. He's been the position leader. He's played outstanding these last two games. So if Caleb Robb can come up and if he can lock down that front side and keep that quarterback under contain and then allow his secondaries to be able to be the playmakers that they are, we're going to be in a good position right there,
Yeah.
And so it's going to be fun to watch.
You're right, and I think they've got that new defensive scheme. They've got not only Rob, but you got Scott there with him, and then you got Braylon Harris. All three of them will be on the field at the same time. If we can get that swarming, defense like we hope we can get, and I know that Kieran nose guard, I know he's got him a backup now, so he may get him a little breather. That nose guard's a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit quicker off the step. So we'll see if maybe he can do something. I don't know. But at least Kieran will be able to get him a breather and get out. And then, like you said, they do, and they did it with JV last night, and I've seen them do it in other games. They'll run that reverse, then they've got a double reverse and do a flea flicker and all that stuff. So you're right. I mean, we've got to be on that backside and contain at all times.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think another guy, and we'll look to call his name tonight, is Sam Mitchum. The performance he had, against Rockwall, and he's going to be a big part of what they do. Obviously, running the ball. So we'll see. If he continues, but overall, this team has played really, really good, and if I missed anything, I apologize. I was trying to fix them because we're a little dark on the screen, so I was trying to fix that. But no, I think the Bulldogs, obviously they come in tonight when at the beginning of the year we circled some games, we talked about some games. This is a game we thought that they needed to win.
Yeah, and looking at the long picture, you look at the big picture and you look at the schedule and you're saying, okay, James mentioned to it on Wednesday night, and I could not agree more, is that this is exactly where Royce City wanted to be at this moment in district. Started off with North Forney, went in there, had a convincing win against North Forney. You turn around and you play Rockwall. So right there, we get a test to see who we really are and where we really stand. To go out there and put up, competitive numbers, to play with them through the first half and come out of the second half, and then who knows what happened, but Rockwall turned into Rockwall that everybody knows. Scores additional points, we get beat. Then to turn around and not look at that game as a loss, and then not look at this game as a rebound game, but this is the game that we're going to come out and we're going to put our foot in the ground and we're going to cement who we really are in this district.
I mean, district really, for good coaches, and Petrov's crew, I feel like are pretty good coaches, it's 1-0 every week. So you're 1-0 the first week, you were 0-1 your second week. You need to go back and be 1-0 tonight. It's all about the next game, because really nobody cares about what happened before. If we're going to get there, we got to go week to week, and we got to be 1-0 when we finish. And we know that there's going to be, one more outlier out there, where we could lose and it'd be okay. But tonight, like you say, is a game really, you hate to say must win, but it's a game that if we circled it on our schedule and said we were going to win it, we need to, by God, go out there and win it.
Yeah.
Hey, and don't forget, you mentioned Sam, but, and of course we've got Spring and we got Jonah, But look, you're getting a name back that we haven't called in several weeks in Williams. So, let's keep him out there. We got Weaver. We got some kids that got moved up. So let's hope we can get.
Well, that's one of the things too.
involved.
We talked about Weaver in pregame before we got on air, but Weaver is actually moved from what is considered like an H-back to a receiver now. So he's not really playing that H-back a lot. They brought another kid in there to play that H-back, pretty good blocker that can also catch the ball a little bit. So maybe now that Weaver's out of that H-back role a lot, there might be some opportunities to get him in one-on-one. If you look at these guys defensively, they've got some small guys out there defending. I'm not saying that one of them can't take Weaver down, but I'm saying that if you get a ball out there on an edge to a guy like that, he should be able to power through at least one guy and maybe take one to the house
Yeah,
tonight.
yards after contact with somebody like that.
Hey, look, week after week we come out here and our backs are going against 6'5", 6'6" guys. It's nice to maybe come out here, and I know they've got some big receivers too, but at least our backs can feel a little bit better this week. We match up, but, maybe we can pick up an inch or two. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just so, hey, we'll see, man. I'm excited. It's Pink Out Night. You got to recognize all the breast cancer survivors and the Hall of Fame. You've got some big names, and Bobby Summers and
Coach Webb.
Coach Webb and a few other guys and a lady that's getting in tonight. So, it's an exciting night. I'm looking forward to it and recognize some of the legends of the sport, and Bobby Summers is a legend of all legends. I mean, the guy's just awesome, and he's a great guy.
I want to know how he's going to do the PA announcing and be out on the field to get recognized.
I saw him earlier, and I asked him. I said, "Did you do yourself a pre-recorded to where you can come down here and they just hit play on you?" And he said, "No, that."
It's his son.
No, it's not his son. Worthy's going to do it.
Oh, okay,
Worthy's
Worthy's going to do it. Yeah,
Worthy's going to do his.
It is Hall of Fame night where there's some inductees that will be introduced. I'll kind of their names. So it's Bill Cookston, and 1954 is when he was at Roy City. Gabriella, you mentioned the one female, Bradford. Carlos Gallegos, of course, Bobby Summers, who's just the name, the man here in Roy City. He's got a middle school named after him. And then, of course, Rodney Webb, who was here. He was at Mesquite. He did Rockwall, and then he went to Denton Geyer, and now he is the athletic director at Highland Park. So hopefully we'll be able to squeeze on one or two. I did text. I don't want to throw names out like I got phone numbers, but I did text Coach Webb, and he said he's going to be here tonight, and shortly before 6:30 he plans on being in the field. So maybe we'll get an opportunity to chat with Coach Webb before that happens. We got 51 minutes to kick off, and as things stand, Heath is off this week. Rockwall, they'll travel to North Forney and take on North Forney. Listen, if you just talk about games around the district, North Forney has been better than advertised. That's a game that they want to. Against Rockwall, I think they just want to grow from, right? They just want to get in there and play their best ball and see what happens. And they don't expect to win that game. I think internally, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you'll have a coach say that or a kid say that. But we know who North Forney is, and that coach has them on the. Coach Lester has them on the up, and so North Forney will look to have a competitive game against Rockwall tonight.
I just think that they drew the wrong week to play Rockwall. Rockwall came out what Coach Brooks would consider soft in the first half against Roy City last week. I don't bet they do it again.
Well,
as a rebound, you know what I'm saying?
You got to think about Rockwall from this standpoint. Is that's 2 weeks in a row now, because we played Rockwall last week. The week before, Rockwall played Horn.
Yeah.
And barely won that game and was actually down for the majority of that game.
I'm still, though, believing that Horn is a dude. And
they are.
I mean, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to I'll say, I think Horn is that team. I think they're a lot better than we're still maybe giving them credit for, just because the new coach and what they did last year. But I think Rockwall is
wins.
I mean, Rockwall is if they can turn things on, they are a true complete team.
I think Rockwall goes out and totally blows Tyler Legacy out the window tonight. Just completely blows it, leaves nothing to doubt.
Yeah.
North Forney.
North Forney.
North Forney.
Yeah.
But I think they leave nothing to doubt tonight.
You may see Stoner and Stowball just have a field day with number 10 tonight. I
Yes.
mean, the dude, they may light him up. But I bet you, and you said it last week, there's two different conversations going on in the locker room. I don't think Coach Brooks wants to have that same conversation this week like he did last week. So you're right. He may come out and put 50 on him in the first quarter.
And I watched his show on Wednesday night. I mean, he was truthful about it. It's funny, you know, Pena was going to try to catch him and say, hey, and you were there,
Yeah.
but, you know, hey, you know, did they surprise you? And he said, not at all. Like, I thought that Roy City was going to be physical, and that's what they were. I don't know that our kids necessarily thought it was going to be like that.
Yes.
And I think Roy City did surprise them. I think Roy City had a heck of a game plan in that first half, and it looked to me like Rockwall went in and decided that 70% of the time we were running it was an off-tackle option, and they blitzed the off-tackle gaps quite a bit with the backers in that second half, and it shut down our run. We weren't able to physically get the blocks like we were in the first half. And, I mean, Sam Mitchum, I think, has the record this year in the first half of running on Rockwall.
And for all of you that didn't know that name coming to this year,
You know it now.
James and I have had the pleasure of coaching that kid ever since he was in 3rd, 4th grade,
Yep.
all the way up through Pee Wee football. So we knew the talent that was on that field and what he was capable of. You know, granted, yes, he comes, you know, gets moved up as a sophomore. He's starting behind Champ and Sir Hill. Gets his chance his junior year, he's still behind Champ. So now this year was his coming out party, and people, they're taking notice of who he is.
Yeah.
He's a talented running back.
I was telling James before, and it's not really something that's private because it was played out on Twitter, but the wide receiver for Rockwall, Noble Johnson, who's committed to Clemson, his father actually commented on Sam's Sam put out his highlights for the halfway through the season, and his father was like, he was so impressed. He was just like, your ability to hit the holes, your speed, your patience. He actually at one point said, do you mind if I send Clemson all your stuff? And he said yes, and his dad, not Mike, Mark, Sam's dad, was just blown away and completely. And I know for a fact that C.J. Spiller at Clemson has Sam's stuff, but it's not saying he's going to get a commitment from Clemson or not from Clemson. It's just saying he turned some heads, and it was really cool to see parents, you know, from an opposing team, Rockwall, to take notice like that and give him his props.
But I mean, that's the season he's had so far this year. I mean, you think about it. Has he gone under 100 yards in a game this year?
No, I don't think he has. Even let's see, even against Melissa, I think he had like 140 yards. Something.
You know, there's kids in Allen every year that, you know, get a scholarship that hardly see the field to their senior, right?
Yep.
Roy City's not quite there, but I would say that in a few more years that type of stuff's going to happen. I mean, Sam's sophomore year, Tyson was also playing running back as well, and Tyson was behind Champ. And Tyson played H-back and running back, so he didn't get very many opportunities because there was guys in front of him that were going to go play college ball,
right?
You know, and so he is a dude. The thing that surprises me most, and I think the thing when he's finally got it on tape, is he looks like a scat back that wants to hit the edge. But once he gets in contact or realizes that he's physically going to be touched by someone, he lowers the boom and explodes through them. And most kids his size just don't do that. There's nobody anymore really finishing runs. Sam Mitchum absolutely finishes runs. And people that know football know what I'm talking about. And when you have that type of thing on tape, that's a big deal. Being a scat back's one thing. Being a third down back, catch the ball in the backfield, that's one thing. That's probably what they looked at him as. Now they're looking at him as, oh no, he's going to finish the run. And if you get 20 carries a game and you finish every single carry and you get 1 or 2 yards extra, that's 20 or 40 extra yards because you're willing to finish. You know what I'm saying?
He's always been fast, even when he was little.
Yes.
But this summer coming into this season, he focused on strength and conditioning. And Lord, man, and of course he did weightlifting. And dude, he is so much stronger. I mean, he's just so well-rounded now.
Yep.
He's become a complete back.
Yep. Yeah, you mentioned number 11 from Mesquite, so a player to watch out for, Jamar Woods. I saw him before the season started. I went and visited Mesquite. He's a legit athlete, and he's gonna be a guy that if you're a Royce City fan, or if you're gonna watch the game tonight, that's number 11. That's the guy you watch for. That's the guy that they've got to keep. Their offense is not putting up a ton of numbers. They've got like 850 rushing yards on the year. They've got about just over 1,000 passing yards. But they're going to rely on their defense and their playmakers to make it happen for Mesquite.
Well, I was told number 11 is a 7-on-7 nightmare. Like, if he's out of pads, it's a whole nother level. Like, just
he's not the biggest guy,
right, but he's so quick,
right,
and has really good hands. So
yeah.
Like I say, we got.
I'm excited for tonight, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see. I think we'll see what this matchup looks like.
Yeah, as we get about 43 minutes, they're going to start the Hall of Fame ceremonies here in about 10 minutes. So we'll give way to them just to make sure that everybody can pay attention to that. But it's going to be fun, guys. We'll be back here at halftime to talk about what we've seen. But any last words?
I was just going to ask you. What are your thoughts on what does Royce City need to do tonight to take this game?
I think they need to. They're going to get a wide receiver back that I think is big. I think that's going to help out. If they can get some attention early to some of these outside wide receivers and open things up for Weaver, I think that's going to be a key. And then they just got to run the ball. That's the key to success for them. If they can run the ball, obviously we've talked about what Royce City does when they jump ahead. So it's important that they get out early in this game, establish the run, and then start opening things up for their wide receivers. I think I think if I was going to make a prediction on a big guy, I think Jonah is going to have a monster night. Give me 200 yards.
James,
wow.
What do you think?
Minimize penalties first and foremost. Let's get out there and let's establish our dominance early. Put some hits on. Let's get in the backfield, make that quarterback run around a little bit, and let our linebackers have a big night.
Okay, I'll go next because I know I'm gonna let the professor end it for us right here.
Come on now.
So I don't like talking after you. You talk fancy football, and so I think for Royce City tonight, number one is like you're saying is that we've got to control the ground game. We got to control the line of scrimmage. Royce City early has got to score quick and early, and they can't stop. They cannot let their foot off the gas. The biggest thing for me is going to be the second half. Royce City has to come out dominant and physical in the second half. If we sit back, if we get a 21-point lead and we sit back and win a game 21-0, yeah, we won, but Royce City's got to take that next step and become that killer that we have to be for this district. We have to do it.
Yeah, and before Brandon goes, I will say it's a little gusty. The wind can play a small factor in this, especially in the passing game. So when Royce City's down with this win, that's when you wouldn't be surprised to see it open it up.
So great lead in there. So these guys and you are talking about we're going to put the ball in the air. I truly believe Sam Mitchum has 200 yards rushing. I think the quarterback has dang near 100 yards rushing, and I think we score at least 5 touchdowns in the first half. So that's what I'm going to throw out there because we are going to establish.
We're making big predictions.
Early.
That's what we're doing.
It's what's
That's what we're doing.
happening.
That's what we're doing.
It's what's happening.
I say Sam goes 2 Bills tonight.
Yeah, I know it's I know it's dark out there. Sorry about the lighting. We'll get that fixed at halftime, obviously. But hey, before we go, I want to thank Vice and Henley, attorneys and counselors at law, for being part of this and making this pregame and halftime show happen. We can't thank them enough. I think we're gonna have them out for the Heath game when they come in. We're gonna have them out on the show and thank them.
I'll thank Vice. I'm not real sure about Henley.
I was gonna say something.
Henley's kind of a hard head.
We're gonna let Dale on the field.
Yeah,
Dale will for sure appreciate this. At whatever time is on your bottom left ticker now, make sure you type that in for Dale. Dale will be an absolute delight on your show, I'm sure.
I have not confirmed that I can get them on the field, but I'm going to use all 140 pounds of my weight to try and get it done.
Just tell Henley that if he doesn't show up, that me and Coy Cleveland are going to tell everybody what he's about.
And I didn't even switch because I read these things, but it's Vice, Henley, and Dilbeck. Scott, who I know, and he was a big part in selling this to his group and saying, hey, we need to be a part of this. So it's actually three guys on there now, and I met them. They're really great, and I can't wait to have them on the show. Fellas, let's cut it short so that we can, watch these ceremonies and give these people the respect that they've earned, and have a good night. We'll see you all at halftime. Go Bulldogs.
Let's go Bulldogs.